Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Daniels. I'm a fifth grade social studies teacher at Brick and Launch Academy and a current master student in the program of educational leadership at Xavier University of Louisiana. This is a social media campaign grounded in collaboration and communication with stakeholders. This is for a fictitious school called Norman C. Francis Leadership Academy that serves grades 5 through 8. Today's agenda, I would like to go over some current issues and trends in education, and talk about why use social media to communicate and collaborate, and possibly how social media can address some of the current issues and trends in public education. And I want to go over the planned implementation, how to exactly use social media for our schools. My short term goals are simple. First, I would like to evaluate the community that I'm serving. I need to kind of take time to understand what the community needs as it relates to communication. Then I would like to establish effective two-way communication. Um, I want to share and receive information easily and within the community that I am serving. And in short, I would like to inform the public. I want to make sure that messages that come from me in the school are clear. Long term, I want to influence public opinions. I know that as a school leader, I have the power to shape public perceptions and opinion, especially through effective communication. I want to have consistent positive imaging about my school. In regards to social media, I want to use that platform to post at least 3 to 4 times a week, particularly about the positive things happening in and around the school. And lastly, as a long term goal, I want to increase engagement. I want to invite community members to like, comment, share, and communicate via social media as an additional platform. I want to increase engagement directly through social media. So I would like to start today's presentation with a quote. This quote is about public perception and how the public views education today. The quote says schools in today's public education system are not perceived to be very effective by stakeholders around the country. Oftentimes, perception is reality or some evidence of a reality. So, if people don't perceive our school system to be very effective, um, there may be some truth in that educational issue. We know public education provides students today with opportunities and experiences that cannot all be good. But if the public perceives it to be ineffective, then it's something school leaders should have in mind, and we should be actively trying to address this perception. This quote is framing more of national opinions for the national school system, but I can tell you here in Louisiana, um, citizens here feel the same way about our public education. So, as a leader, what are we going to do to address this perception? We know that our schools are effective. So, how are we going to get the public to know that? The perceptions of public schools are negative partly because of lack of communication between the schools and the public. Um, This information comes, or this claim comes from a Phi Delta Kappa annual survey of public opinion. And unfortunately, only 17% of those polled graded public schools nationwide in the A and B range. Um, that means that 83% of the people who were polled graded our school system a grade C or lower. That is the perception of our school. People do not understand what is going on in our public schools across the country, especially the success stories that's happening in public schools every day and across this nation. We, as school leaders, and particularly myself, I want to improve the perception of public education by committing to effective, concise communication between the schools and the public. And in particularly, I want to use social media to address this issue and trend. According to Burnett, social networking sites can be an effective way to reach stakeholders if organizations understand how their stakeholders use the sites. Um, I am fortunate enough to be born in the social media age. Um, I was alive to see social media um, become more and more popular. And today, there's millions, even billions of people worldwide who actively use social networking sites to communicate and to share information. So, as a school leader, I want to tap into that networking opportunity. I want to see, can I address a issue of perception about our schools, particularly with social networking. Additionally, school leaders have taken to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn and other social media outlets to inform people what is occurring within the schools that they supervise. This is exactly what I want to do. So, why use social media in particular? Why not any other mode of communication? Well, this is something that school districts have already kind of employed in some areas and have found some success. Um, I have an article as early as 2012 from the Emergence, where we have an example of the Palm Beach County School District in Florida, along with others, created a district Twitter and Facebook account to be active in the growing national trend of districts utilizing social media. Um, so there are examples of districts and leaders who have found success with communicating and collaborating with social media, and it's becoming to be a national trend. And I would like to join this in this trend to see if we could bring success to our schools. For example, there's a district in Salt Lake City in Utah who created Facebook and Twitter in response to public interest. They created these platforms to share information about the school, announce like school announcements, provide links to articles, post about television news stories about the school, as well as communicate with parents, especially during emergencies. This doesn't stop at just the building level as well. As we see, we have examples of superintendents, especially Superintendent Williams of York County School District in Virginia. Mr. Williams has used Twitter to connect with teachers and administrators inside and outside his district, and particularly to learn about instructional strategies, acknowledge teachers in his district that have demonstrated effective classroom strategies, and a list of other things as well. So if we take a look at where small pockets of success is happening, particularly with using social media to communicate and connect with stakeholders, we can find ways that we can use social media for our school. For example, Facebook alone has 2.9 billion monthly users. Coming in second is Instagram with 2 billion monthly users, and Twitter in third with about 200 million monthly users. Um, and these numbers are expected to grow. These numbers come from 2021 data used by the Pew Research, and we can only expect these numbers to grow. We only expect more community members to be involved with one or more of these social media websites. So these are the three I would like to employ for our school. I'd like to have a Twitter page for our school. And here's an example of it. Twitter works well with short and written messages. In particular, Twitter calls those tweets. Each tweet can be no more than 280 characters. So you do have a limit on what you can say on Twitter. Um, so if we would like to say more or maybe talk about a little bit more, I suggest that we create an Instagram page. Instagram has a lot more characters that you can use. The character limit goes up to 2,200 characters. And again, you can type a written message. And you can also post a picture or do a combination of both on Instagram, which I think is very cool. Now, both platforms allow you to share information, reply back to one another, um, pose questions, um, and just connect in a numerous way. Lastly, I believe we should also have a Facebook page as well. Facebook has the 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 greatest amount of characters that we can use at 63,000 characters. You can also post pictures and typewritten messages like Instagram. Um, Facebook has been known to be a one stop shop where you can do everything that you can do on Twitter and Instagram um, can also be done on Facebook. So the question is, why use all three? Well, as we learned earlier, each platform has different amount of users, and different individuals tend to use these platforms for different reasons. And I want to have a strategic approach about these platforms. I do. I would like to use all three for our school, and I would like to show you all ways that we can do that. So, how can we utilize social media for our schools? With Twitter, I would like to use Twitter to connect with local and national school districts. I want to share information with them and receive information from them. Um, I would like to talk with and connect with other leaders, especially here around our city, in our state, but especially those on a national level. I want to gauge their opinion and their expertise by connecting with them via Twitter. I think it'd be a good place to start and to utilize. Next, I would like to use Instagram, particularly to promote our school and guide public perceptions of our school. Um, as we mentioned before, Instagram is a platform where you can post not only pictures but also type and written messages. I would like to do a combination of both on Instagram, particularly to promote our schools and guide the public perception of our schools. I feel like the perception is negative partly because the public don't have a clue or just do not know what is going on in our schools. With Instagram, we can show them with messages and with pictures and with videos of what we're doing, what our kids are doing, what our teachers are doing, and how we how are we living up to the values that we are teaching. And lastly, with Facebook, I wanted us to use Facebook in particular to collaborate and communicate with business partners and community members. um, Facebook has the greatest amount of characters, so these messages typically can be unlimited. We don't have a character limit, and that's important when talking to business members or community members, people outside of the school system. Um, we don't know where those conversations could take us or lead us, and we want to be bound down with a character limit. Also, Facebook allows us to make groups and personalize and privatize those groups, so we can connect and collaborate and communicate with different leaders and business partners, and have privacy and security enough to maintain those relationships online via social media. So I will I I would like to use all three of these social medias. I feel like each three serves a different purpose for our school, and working together, we're creating a more informed school, and we are sending and sharing and receiving information through a multitude of people and audience. Each of these platforms should have a different objective, maybe a different target audience, and general content should be different on each one of these. So when community stakeholders choose a platform to follow, they can kind of expect what type of information they will receive. So here's an overlapping chart that kind of explains how I would like to use each of these social medias. Starting with Twitter, um, the objective is to connect with local and national schools. Um, to do this, we're going to pose questions, we're going to seek advice, we're going to give advice, and we're just going to try our best to share and receive information from each other. We want to follow schools, and we're going to ask them to follow us. We're going to ask people to retweet and reply to us on Twitter, with the hopes of connecting and collaborating with local schools and school districts. On Instagram, as mentioned, we want to promote our school and guide the public perception of our school. This is done by promoting positive school images and highlighting and showcasing the staff, faculty, and students, particularly to the internal and external community, families without children enrolled in our school, and taxpayers. These people um, live in our community, work in our community, and oftentimes have opinions about our school. So what other way to inform them than a consistent way where they can see positive images and messages about our school via Instagram? And then I mentioned Facebook. Facebook, I would like to use it to collaborate and communicate with local businesses and vendors and nonprofits and internal and external community members as well. Um, and I want them to know that if they follow us on Facebook, they can not only see things like sporting events and extracurricular activities, but they'll also get real time information and real pertinent information, particularly about like open positions or school delays and school closures. So each platform will serve a different purpose, have a different target audience, um, and have different content as well. According to Patrick Larkins, a principal at Burlington High School in Massachusetts, Twitter allows for instant feedback from educators all over the world, which I think is one of the coolest things about Twitter in particular, where you can have an issue or a problem at your school and you can pose a question, and a principal in another part of the world can see that tweet, who has been there or has experienced there, or have advice for that situation, and can tweet you instantly and give you some type of advice or expertise on a particular issue. For example, here is a sample Twitter post from our school. This is a question or a statement, but it's aimed for either advice seeking or giving. It says, if your school or school district prioritizes diversity, equity, and inclusion, retweet this post and reply with one example that other school leaders may benefit from seeing. This um, tweet stays in a limit of the 280 character tweet limit, but it does post that statement or question that is aimed for either advice seeking or advice giving. Let's take a look at one more. This is another sample tweet. Um, this one is kind of get like aimed to get other principals or other leaders to collaborate with the school. This can be local principals or national principals. This particular tweet um, doesn't doesn't categorize it. It leaves it kind of open. It says, calling all middle school principals, come join us at NCFLA's main campus Friday, May 6th at 11 a.m. for a leadership summit. Sign up, professional development. Here's a simple Instagram post, and notice the difference. On Instagram, you can not only make longer posts than on Twitter, but you can post a picture alongside written words. This is a sample clothes drive and donations for a back to school event. Post says, marking calendars, Norman C. Francis Leadership Academy would need your support for our first annual back to school event, clothing drive. We are so excited to bring this new event to our community. Together, we can make a difference for so many of our children. Hashtag love, hashtag community school, hashtag leave with love, hashtag donate. Instagram is also a place I would like to use to highlight staff and faculty. Here we see a post highlighting a teacher. This teacher has been teaching for 6 years, second at Norman C. Francis Leadership Academy. And one thing that students enjoy most about this teacher is the passion and expertise that this teacher brings each and every day. Here at Norman C. Francis Leadership Academy, we are grateful to have him. Instagram is perfect for student showcases. Here's a sample post of how we can highlight or showcase our students. Um, this post is a sample post that says our mission at NCFLA is to advance educational equity by preparing students from diverse backgrounds to be innovators who will change the world. Students are pictured designing floatable houses in co-curricular. This is a post highlighting activities and academic opportunities at our school. Now, I want to shift to Facebook. I want to show you all a couple sample Facebook posts. According to Waters in Palo Alto Unified School District in California, Facebook is an important communication outlet. Here in this district, students learn about school activities, events. Teachers get to communicate with each other. Um, it's an outlet for teachers and for staff to interact with each other. So Facebook is very important. I just want to show you all some sample posts of how we can use Facebook for our school too. I would like to use Facebook for our school to particularly collaborate with local businesses. Says before. Here's a sample picture of the grand opening of our school, which we could not have done it alone. Pictured there is Mayor Cantrell and Superintendent Henderson, which played a key part in the creation of our school. We want to keep those people constantly informed about the school. Not only the people who helped us run it, but just local businesses and vendors all alike. Sporting events and extracurricular activities are a great place, are great information to share via Facebook. Again, you want support from not only the internal but the external community as well. Um, Particularly businesses and vendors who make and support the extracurricular at our school. This particular post says, "Please help us congratulate the Lady Tigers. We are so proud of the amazing team and coaches. Go Tiger!" With the hopes of maybe a business or a vendor will see this and would like to support our co-curriculars at our school. Delays in school closures. This is pertinent information that should be seen to the most amount of people, and you should not have any character limits when posting something as important and significant as a school delay or school closure. Facebook would be the perfect place to share that information. And if anyone in the community have questions or concerns, they can reply back or comment directly on this particular post. And lastly, open positions. Um, Facebook is a great place to market our school and also look for people who can fill open positions. Um, Not only will people interested may get an opportunity to see something or see an opening via Facebook, but even someone who may know someone that's interested, they could share or send this information to someone who may be interested. So I believe Facebook is a great place to share job openings and position openings. So in conclusion, Americans do not have a favorable opinion or perception about public education in the United States. And this is an issue, this is a problem. I would like to solve that problem through effective communication, and particularly with social media. I believe that with effective two-way communication via social media, this will help change the public perception into a more favorable one. National trends show school leaders in entire districts are successfully collaborating and communicating via social media. So why not us? Why not Norman C. Francis Leadership Academy? In addition to our presentation, I included two linked articles. One article is titled "The Top 10 Best Performing Facebook Posts for Schools." You just click the link and it will open up for you. In that particular article, you get a deeper understanding of Facebook. You'll see some example Facebook posts, strategies, and implementations uh, of how to use Facebook for your school. And my other linked article are titled Two Ways Principals Can Use Twitter to Engage with Stakeholders. Um, with that, you will gain a deeper understanding of Twitter. You'll see example posts from Twitter, content curation, and advice from other school leaders. Here are my references. And I would like to thank you for your time. This was my presentation on using social media to collaborate and communicate with stakeholders. Thank you, and have a good rest of your evening.